our first keynote speaker. Give him a big hand. Rahul is a founder and a chief consultant at Test Mile, okay? And he's a fantastic speaker. I have been listening to him year after year. And let me tell you that he's a very great speaker, and he's going to talk about bell bottoms and beyond, the present clues for a bittersweet future. So what is this bell bottoms and beyond? We are going to have an understanding from Rahul. Rahul, over to you.
I know that we are all messed up in terms of the way future looks like, but there is no need to be sad. That time would come anyways, when we would be looking around, running around, trying to find out what we have to do about what's happening. So good morning again. Namaskar. Thank you. So you look at me, you look at this picture. Do we belong? Does it look like? It doesn't. So what does it mean to talk about future, especially in a responsible forum like this? What gives me the right to talk about future when I have done nothing about the future at all? I don't know about AI. I don't know about machine learning. So what gives me the right to talk about the future, right? So that's a big question. There's a lot of noise around artificial intelligence, around all the big buzzwords. Actually, innovation is the buzzword of the decade, if you like. Everybody somehow is using, 57% CIOs told that AI or ML is being used in their work. I think that's a lie, okay? AI appears in their work, machine learning appears in their work, they might be using one thing here and there. Any intelligent algorithm looks like artificial intelligence anyways. So till you really look into the product, you would never know. So it is other buzzwords. So what I decided is that in this, all of this noise, are we missing some simple trends? Because they don't have fancy names. So what I've tried to do is, in this presentation, we don't know about the future, how harsh it is going to be or how great that is going to be, okay, down the line, like many years from now, 100 years from now, 50 years from now. Nobody can really project. That's the problem with prophesizing, right? How many of you have watched Game of Thrones, right? So you see there is this prophesizing lady there. Every time she projects something in future, it doesn't turn out to be true, right? So I think most of the speakers or writers or all these, not able to look at the table, I'm so sorry. So we try to project, and it is a hit or miss case. So I actually took a safe bet. I'm going to look through what has happened in the last few years, beyond the buzzwords, and build a trend based on them for next 5 years, and then next 20 years. Okay, fair enough? I have done this talk in a dev conference. It went very well there because people are tech savvy mostly. It's a huge risk to bring this talk to a testing conference, so please stay with me, okay? It's okay. I also don't understand much of this. It's all okay. But what I hope is once you go back, you can start noticing those small trends. Not the trends which I show on the screen, but get into the habit of knowing that. Before getting worried or not worried or going into these kind of statements that manual testing is not going away. This is not going to take away my job. See, there was an ant, and it was running around, crying, afraid, everywhere around. And you know what it was saying? Oh, I'm afraid that the lion is my enemy. Lion is going to kill me. Why would lion be interested in the ant? Doesn't it have better things to do? So those of you who keep saying, right, that AI would take away my job, robots would take away my job, actually we have enough things today to take away our job. Okay? You don't need a lion. The ant doesn't need a lion as an enemy. So look for wasps, look for small chipkili. Okay? Let's not go into that at all. Some of those things I'm going to touch for you and how it is going to change our lives. Okay? If we are noticing. So bell bottoms and beyond, it's an argument I'm making. The title of the presentation, why it is titled that way, would also unfold as a part of this presentation. One day AI reality would beat AI fiction. That is the truth. Whatever we are trying to imagine here is just imagination. Anytime you pick at, like across last years, you imagined a tech to reach at a certain peak, it actually always ended up crossing that. So first of all, accept the fact that AI is going to beat all our expectations. Okay? That's the reality. But I'm not an AI guy. I don't have the license to talk about it because I have done nothing in AI. It's a responsible position. I would stick to the areas where at least I have some idea, rather than giving vague statements about AI and ML. Okay? So those subjects of AI, ML, I leave to the experts. They're much better people. Some of them are in this room. They should be talking about those subjects. So what I am going to talk about is bell bottoms. Do you know what bell bottoms are? Are they back in fashion? Those like bell at the bottom, like old Bollywood movies or Kannada movies, Tamil movies, you'll see, right? Rajnikant also wearing that, Amitabh Bachchan also wearing that. Are they back in fashion? Are they back in fashion or not? What is a palazzo? You see, the form might change. The ideas are picked up from the same area. Anyways, so these are some trends from last 2-3 years. You could maybe translate that to web, to mobile, to IoT. My goal here is not to show you completeness because nobody knows the complete tech at all. But these are some common trends which are going to hit various products and applications. Okay. Today, for example, so you see, there is a principle in performance engineering. It's called locality principle. Have you heard about that? Locality principle. Okay, let me translate it for you. If you want an application to perform properly, keep the processing logic and the data together, as local in time and space to each other as possible. The moment somebody created a client-server application, it broke the locality principle. Because the place where the user is sitting is away from the place where the logic is happening. Data is with the user. It is being sent to a processing logic somewhere else on the wire. Okay? That introduces network latency and other aspects. All the technology in the recent years, in the recent decades, has been about solving the problem of this performance, which was, first of all, created by our own needs. Okay? One of that measure is push as many things as possible to the browser. The processing logic. So that's where thick client, instead of thick client, you had these applets, you had these ActiveX components, and off late, what is there? What is being used in web apps? JavaScript. All this, if you see more and more logic being pushed to the client side, is a part of solving this problem. But is JavaScript the future? Is JavaScript going to stay? Is an interpreted language the future if we really want performance? We are the people who grew from C, C++, right? And over a period of time, you see a trend of interpreted language, everywhere, interpreted language text formats. That's what I'm going to challenge today. And you should observe that things are changing. There is a project which was launched this year. It is supported across all the browsers. It's called WebAssembly. So if you want, you can run C, C++ code right there in your browser. It's already there. As I mentioned, it's not future. It's already there. Safari supports it, i.e. this Edge supports it, Chrome supports it. It is all there. So if you have heavy logic like image processing or video processing kind of applications, they are already moving towards it. It is going to change the way you test things. You can't look through its code. It's a compiled component. So the tooling or other things, black box testing must hai. वो ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा. Those of you who are doing deeper testing, let's say you want to directly call JavaScript or component level, all those things are going to change. Search about it. It's called WASM, WASM. It's called WebAssembly. Search for it. It is a trend which is going to come. And the whole pattern behind this trend is moving from an interpreted language to a compiled language. Okay? Take note of this. Information exchange format. How do the applications today exchange information? Like you have a web application, what is the, how do they, HTTP of course is the protocol they use. We'll come to that in next slide. What is the information exchange format? Is it XML today or what do you use? It's JSON. Is JSON a binary format or a text format? Is there a problem in text format? What is the good or bad part of having information exchange format? as text format? It's bulky. It has very loose type check. The dumping and loading takes time. It takes more bandwidth to send these packets. Okay? In IoT world, things have already changed. In the web world, things are changing. So there are multiple projects from Google. It is already there, by the way. This thing is again changing, but it has not scaled yet. So there's a project called Protobuf. There's a project called Flatbuf. There's Apache Thrift. These are binary information exchange formats. How many of you deal with microservices? Your products have microservices? Those companies would see it happening, or it might be already happening for you, that rather than text-based formats, those in IoT world would already be seeing that, okay? JSON is not the information exchange format of future, okay? So we as testers, we don't know how to parse binary data, okay, at all. We are not taught that. Those who have worked in security to some extent would be exposed to it, but we don't know. We are so used to text, seeing it, XML or JSON, we are so used, but binary parsing is a completely different animal. Crafting a binary packet is a different skill altogether because it's not structural format, it's a stream of bytes, the arrangement of bytes. So start learning a bit about packing and unpacking of binary data, okay? So that's the future readiness. It's, I liked that slogans thing. How do you translate that slogan back to your work? That's what I'm trying to discuss here. Information exchange format. What is the trend here? From text to binary. Earlier, what did we see? From interpreted language, a movement towards compiled language, which is again binary, okay? Third trend, communication protocol. Again, HTTP2 is already there. It's used by some applications already. What is HTTP? The web protocol. Is it a text-based protocol, or is it a binary protocol? Text. You see, again, text. Have you ever wondered that a binary world of bits and bytes, how progressively over a period of time, everything had moved away from being binary to text? Every single thing. Our protocols, our information exchange format, our languages, everything moved away from being compiled. And then we talk of performance engineering, right? But look at these trends. We are going back. HTTP2 is binary. HTTP3 is binary. gRPC, heard the name RPC protocol, remote procedure call? It used to be talked earlier, but now it is cross-language, remote procedure call. Again, a protocol defined by Google, again a